Let's talk about Scamper today. There's this book called Thinker Toys that teaches you how to engage in creative thinking and problem solving. And it's one of my favorite books. I've used it for teaching graduate courses and innovation studies and using different exercises with students of all levels, everything from middle school students to doctoral students over the years. And it's a really powerful tool in my own thinking. Now, I oftentimes use it to come up with a creative thought or idea or a different angle on something that we're trying to design, but it can also be used for something like a treasure hunt design or a game design. If you're the designer, you can start with a really concrete clue that's very direct. It would give things away right away, but you go through this Scamper model, and by the time you're done, it's something that can actually be used and make for a fun, interesting, challenging game design or clue. And if you are a treasure hunter or a game player, you can also use the Scamper concept to try to get into the mind of a game designer because it is a creative endeavor. Now, Scamper is an acronym, and I don't think I have all these perfectly memorized. Let's see. The first one is S for substitute, and then combine, and then adapt, and then modify, put to another use, eliminate, and then the final R is reverse. And so I'm going to go through each of these. And what I thought would be useful for this video is I'm going to play the role of a treasure hunt designer. And I'm going to start with a specific clue. So I have a treasure box, and I've hidden it under a wooden platform that's at an overlook of a waterfall. So imagine you kind of go up to this trail, and it's a dead end, and there's a wooden platform, and you stand at that wooden platform, and you can kind of look at this waterfall at a park down below. And I've hidden the treasure box underneath that wooden platform. So I wouldn't want to use a clue and say, look under the wooden platform above the waterfall, because that would obviously give it away pretty easily. And so I'm going to go through the Scamper model, and I've jotted down some notes here on how I might use the Scamper model to come up with a more interesting clue and one that's a little bit more challenging. So instead of naming the platform for substitute, or the waterfall directly, I might swap them for other metaphors. So for example, I wrote down, the river's applause greets those who stand above. So I'm just using a different metaphor for a river applause. A river applause, it's kind of the sort of the sound of a clapping of the river going over and hitting and making that sound. So I'm getting metaphorical. I'm substituting the more literal with the metaphorical here. Get the idea? Okay, that's the first one. Now, if you are a treasure hunter, then you want to look for this and see, are they possibly using a different metaphor? Maybe it's something more concrete, but they're talking about it more symbolically. Maybe it's something more symbolic, but they're using something concrete. That's what you want to kind of keep in mind. The second one is combined. So I jotted down here, you can join two simple ideas into one hint so the meaning hides kind of in that overlap. So for example, maybe I want to mix height and sound. And I wrote down the phrase, where echoes rise higher than spray. So I'm going to combine the sound of what's happening when you're standing there, the echoes kind of going into the sort of cave-like area or the rock area where the water's going over, and the echoes rise higher than the spray. I'm indicating there's something actually above the waterfall, and the spray being the waterfall, of course. So I put those two together, and that's kind of a clue. X marks the spot, right? And so that's also something that you want to look for as a person trying to solve a puzzle or a problem, is look for ways that they're using two descriptors to create a kind of X, metaphorically or literally. The third one then is to adapt. So you borrow a familiar phrase from some other kind of reference. So you use a familiar phrase, but you're going to repurpose it. So for this one, maybe I use the proverb. I don't know if you've heard this, but there's a proverb that goes, still waters fall deep. So I'm going to use that as a clue, and it's being repurposed, though, to describe kind of maybe a slower moving waterfall, still waters, and then they kind of fall deep into the, it's creating the waterfall. That's a little bit of a stretch, I guess, but it's the best I could come up with initially here. And so this is where, if you are a person in a treasure hunt, you're looking for a familiar phrase, but it's being repurposed or reused. So, you're using a screwdriver as a hammer in a way. And people do that with ideas and words and phrases when they're doing game design a lot. Next one is to modify. So you can modify the scale or something like that. So maybe you change your point of view. So maybe in this case, we're going to describe the waterfall from the water's perspective. So instead of picturing yourself as someone standing on that platform looking at the waterfall, you're going to be the waterfall and describe it, where I look up to wooden feet that never move. So I am the waterfall and I'm looking at the platform and describing it there. So again, when you're trying to problem solve, look at the clues from different angles. Try to put yourself in different points of views. First person, second person, third person, the perspective of different objects and things like that. And that might actually give you some kind of clue that you might have missed otherwise. Next one is put to another use. So you use part of the site maybe symbolically instead of literally. The waterfall could represent, for example, time or movement. We're going to put it to a different use. So maybe I'll use a phrase where the years rush by, but the watcher stays. Sorry, not the most creative one in the world, but you get the idea, where I'm kind of using the waterfall as time, and the years are rushing by, but the watcher stays. And so when you're trying to solve something, when a clue sounds sort of philosophical, ask, what sort of concrete feature might fit both the literal and the symbolic meaning? Now, this is the part that's interesting too, because I know there are quite a few followers on my channel who've been part of this John Collins Black, There's Treasure Inside treasure hunt. And a lot of people are these sort of living room solvers. So you're coming up with a lot of theories and ideas in the living room, but you're not getting boots on the ground. And it's really, really hard sometimes to discover the put to another use, this distinction, if you're not actually there and you're seeing some objects and trying to imagine how they could have both a metaphorical and a literal meaning that would intersect. Another X marks the spot kind of concept. Next one then is to eliminate. So you want to strip the details so it's not too easy. You can remove the phrase wooden. You don't have to describe that it's a wooden platform, or remove the word platform and keep only what's necessary. Maybe it's just waters beneath the watcher. Moving waters beneath the watchers, crashing waters beneath the watcher. And so the watcher phrase kind of hints to the idea that it's a place that's well positioned for watching, but I'm not actually saying that it's a wooden platform, right? So I'm eliminating something to kind of keep it, there's evidence there, but I want to keep it interesting. Then the seventh one is reverse. So this is where you flip the direction or the relationship. So maybe instead of saying above the waterfall, so you're talking about it as if you're standing there with the treasure, you're going to be describing it the other. Look up to where the watcher never blinks, or something like that. And so you're describing it from a different viewpoint in the location. So you're standing below at the waterfall and you look up and you can see that it's maybe up on the right, there's this wooden place kind of through the trees. It's sort of hard to see up there, but little glimpse of it. And so the same thing, if you are a solver, try sort of reversing the phrases a little bit. Move yourself around in physical spaces. But once more, boots on the ground is really necessary to make the most sense of some of those kinds of clues. So there you have it. Scamper is one of my favorite little thinking tools for coming up with creative solutions, designing things, solving problems, coming up with novel ways in teaching and learning. I've used it there. And yes, if you are a literal or metaphorical treasure hunter, it can be a great way to get your mind out of those ruts and noticing patterns that you would have otherwise missed. I hope you find this useful. I look forward to your comments.